Hello and welcome to episode 205. Don't you dare of the Thanks for Watching show. No. Oh my gosh.
You knew it would happen.
I did not think she would actually do this. Aileen has turned on the television.
We need material.
We
have to discuss something. Look, it's Big Brother.
Big
Not
Brother.
Sponsored.
You know, I don't like the new announcer. Oh, look at this guy's crying. Oh, is this the guy that everyone's been talking about online that, like, is mean to everyone but then cries when anyone insults him?
I wouldn't know.
Wow, they are not getting good actors.
They're robots in this show.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Let's
go watch this.
Bot. Every season, what happens is a robot comes out and lays into these people.
Okay.
Based on fan response and stuff like that. And
okay.
So that's it.
That's weird.
And he hosts competitions. That's the other thing. They use him as a competition theme. So they've had a bunch of years where they've saved his children.
His children?
Yes. His wife and his Zing babies.
I don't understand this show.
Why haven't they changed the table out? They're supposed to change the table out by now.
I don't understand the significance of that.
Okay, Aileen does not watch Big Brother, and I grew up in a family that watches Big Brother. I have not watched Big Brother this season, and I would be sad, but wow, these people look awful. And, I don't like the way this guy moves. I don't
like you. The way he moves. You're very prejudiced.
I'm feeling so mean, but I don't know. Here,
yeah.
Why don't we change the channel? So this has become a television podcast now.
Where we watch television and comment on it, and you guys can't see what we're watching.
Yeah. So this guy, it's a commercial for, is it a ticket printing service?
It's a theme park. It's Universal. Metro Please. Yes.
Oh, it's a cell phone commercial. I'm always surprised.
It's funny when you watch commercials without sound.
Yeah, we also have the sound off because while Aileen is mischievous and likes to do distracting, terrible things, she also knows that TV copyright is very serious copyright.
Actually, I didn't think of that.
Oh, why?
I would have violated copyright.
Why'd you turn it down then?
Oh, because I didn't want us to be drowned out.
Oh,
What's the point of having a podcast if you can only hear the TV?
Well, I thought that was what you were going for, is you're just gonna drown us out. What is this animated
I think it's the new movie. I saw it.
Oh, that's informative.
It's called Flight, I think.
What? It's on a train and they're in Paris and the Eiffel Tower's being built and one's a ballerina and has hip red hair.
Yeah, I know.
And wow, this looks like a by the numbers movie. Oh, it does. Some of these character designs don't look great as well. They're building the Statue of Liberty, but the Statue of Liberty is green. And come on, it takes 5 seconds. Or are you really afraid that people won't recognize the Statue of Liberty?
They can't violate trademarks.
Oh my gosh. Hey, I didn't know Chevron still made these like clay car commercials.
I didn't either.
Wow, that's really weird to look at.
Why don't they sponsor Autopia?
They did. But
not now.
Because who wants to... I don't know. Autopia isn't exactly a quality attraction. Also, Honda probably put a bigger bid. Like, there's only so much advertising money that Chevron... I think it doesn't help that...
Maybe Chevron should sponsor that they get electric motors.
It doesn't help that whatever iteration of Tomorrowland there's going to be in Disneyland, it's probably going to be themed around clean, sustainable energy because...
Right.
Because now the company feels comfortable, especially, or at least heralded by Bob Iger, who has no clear successor, and that worries me greatly because terrible things happen when you don't set up a successor. When will people ever learn?
Walt Disney.
Yeah, jeez. Also, The Daily Show is now on a non-weekend day and its own show. The Weekend Update.
Weekend Update. Whatever that is.
Coming to NBC, Guy in Beard, terrorists, army, hold on to hope. Okay, so change the channel. Changing the channel. Would you say something? Hey, look, it's Arrow. You know what's great about Arrow? Nothing. Why is he in a tux? Oh, I love this set. Have I told you? It's her apartment, right? But
I didn't know that.
Because it was His apartment. It was his private apartment that No. He gave this apartment, this extra private apartment, to his sister after some very, tragic, scarring event.
Okay.
And so then the next season, they have a ship fest between Oliver Queen and their own made-up hacker character, who's elite and everything.
Okay.
Felicity. And then they break up and have, a mini-divorce.
Mini-divorce.
Right, because Oliver starts living in this apartment for some reason, and they live together in this apartment. And for some reason, she keeps the apartment. That was his. I don't know why.
Did I ever address that?
No.
It's now hers.
And then this totally other character's
maybe you missed an episode or something.
And then Felicity's mom, I swear to you. And then Felicity's mom also lived there with his dad, and they totally pretended it was a completely different set, but it's not. It's a very distinct set.
Wow.
Oh yeah, season 4 was a season that they just totally gave up on everything. I don't think Felicity's mother is even in the show anymore. That was a whole that's a terrible idea. It was just it was not a good idea.
You know what was a terrible idea? Putting Flash's father in the show.
What do you mean?
You just put him in so they could write him out again.
Well,
I think that served no purpose to have him in.
I mean, the purpose is that he's a reference. To be fair, yeah, you're right. After they resolve him, he dies.
Yeah.
But then he comes back in alternate Earth so he could be the cool old Flash.
Cool old Flash.
Although,
Is that what happens?
Yeah, remember? Okay. He's the real Jay Garrick. Don't you remember? He's the original Flash.
I don't remember
the
any
Silver
of that
Speedster.
We've just stopped watching superhero shows.
Well,
because, I don't know, we've lost interest.
We were watching Daredevil last night.
Yeah.
But that's different, I guess.
Yeah, we've stopped watching the old shows that we used to kind of
because they kind of turn stupid. I'm all for fun stupid, but at least stay fun. Okay, so let's see. We're moving up the channels to ABC. What do you have? ABC has nothing on, ever. Ever. There's never anything on ABC that I want to watch. Okay, yeah, that's right. So you watch Jeopardy, and then Wheel of Fortune, and then you move on and get out of there.
Right.
That's how it always is. We also get KCAL 9. I have the hiccup.
KCAL 9.
You know, what's funny is that we started doing this over the theme song in the beginning bits.
This is a nice cooking show.
MasterChef? Oh yeah, my dad wholly recommends it. It's a competition that's not, well, there are some reality show elements, there is a person that's I don't like this person, I don't like that.
See, that's what I liked about the other show that we saw.
What show?
At your parents' show, remember? There's this nice, cooking show that was just wholesome, everyone was helping each other out, even.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, I don't know the name.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Yeah, but MasterChef is a very good competition that's about food. What I like is that the judges are more relaxed because the whole shtick is that these people are they're not chefs. They're not professional chefs. They're home chefs. So they're
okay.
This whole idea of the competition is to kind of educate them a bit into the culinary world and also test their skills more or less.
So it's to teach them.
Yeah, there's teaching elements to them, and Ramsey and others do demos for them, and it's a very excellent show. And there's challenges of all sorts, and they're a lot kinder because they don't expect them to be perfect.
Right.
You know? It's a nicer element. Man, look at the way that fire comes out bright red.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I don't know if that's camera trickery or I don't know. And then we have K-Cop. I don't know what this is. There's a bunch of people dressed up as fleas on it's a Geico commercial, of course.
It's a flea commercial.
Hey, look, it's Spock. It's Mr.
Star
Spock.
Trek.
Yeah, classic Star Trek. Is it it's a TV show because the movie would be widescreen. And okay, this bit is ran dry. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
All right, we've reached. That's it, folks. We've reached the Korean part of television, so we officially can't make any more jokes. We're out. So, how about we actually start this podcast? Dear.
Anyways.
Oh my gosh. So Aileen is double distracted. What she's been doing is buying time, I think, because what she's doing right now is sewing my blanket, and she has been doing a lot of work on it. Like, I'm very impressed. But yes, she is.
I'm impressed too.
She's also distracting herself from the podcast at hand. How dare she?
I was trying to segue several times during that whole bit into a different topic, but you like to talk and like not take cues for segueing.
Hey, that's your fault. You want to commit to the TV bit? We're gonna commit to the TV bit.
No, I mean that can be a way to get into another topic, but you're just like talking and trying to do your TV thing.
Yeah, because we're doing a bit.
Anyways.
So what were some of the requested topics that we just got done seeing our only listeners, and they had very specific things they wanted us to talk about.
Well, there was also a topic that you wanted to talk about that just earlier you're like, okay, let's save this for the podcast. Well, you never told me what it was, so I don't know what it was.
Oh! Well, I'm saving that for bagel time, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because it's about... I won't spoil it.
So it's about this and this.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
I'll just forget about it, and that'll be that.
Well, why don't you talk about it while you remember? Because if you forget about it, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, but nah. So my parents just went to Universal Studios, and my interest is piqued, I would say. I very much wrote Universal Studios off, but I guess it's really different from when I last went. Like, really different.
As a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I was close to 10, I think.
Hey, apparently you're, like, clawing into your mother and scared about King Kong. So
King Kong is scary!
It's hard to believe you were 10 at the time.
But I was very easily scared as a child. I am easily spooked.
You're one of those children.
Hey, how...
I was the type of child who was like, oh yeah, these are all just special effects. Okay.
So, there's scary special effects. King Kong could just fall over and crush you. All those flames from Backdraft. That was the name of the movie.
Backdraft.
That was the name of the movie.
Good
Me
job.
and Aileen were trying to remember the special effects show.
Right.
Used to culminate in a promotion for the movie. You would have the first where they demonstrate. You have the second theater where they show you horror stuff, and the third theater would be a demonstration of a scene from Backdraft, which was a big movie apparently that they tried to promote. I remember it being as like a B-list movie that was just whatever, like a wannabe Twister.
I mean, there are different topics.
They're
trying to be Twister.
It's the same idea. Take a natural scary phenomenon and make it into a kind of schlocky science.
Maybe it's kind of educational. You know? I
mean, that's how I learned what a backdraft is.
Right.
Which, for those of you who don't know what a backdraft is when a fire is burning in a sealed room, and it's starting to eat up all the oxygen, where it's a very oxygen-deprived environment. When you open a door to that room, you let in so much... It gets so excited to have oxygen to burn up that the fire just leaps through the air in front of the door and burns everything in like a mini explosion.
Not that you should touch doors anyways, because the handles would get hot in the case of a fire.
Well, yes, and that's partially why they tell you to touch the handles, because...
With the back of your hand.
Well, yes.
Please touch handles. Please, just grab them and
I guess that makes sense.
Sure.
That way you can still grab things without hurting. Like,
well, the back of your hand isn't too sensitive. You're just using it to test how hot it is.
Well, yeah, and if it gets hurt, well, who cares? It's the back of your hand. Don't wear gloves. So, yes, Backdraft. I couldn't remember the name of the movie, and I was coming up with we came up with all sorts of names.
We were thinking
Backflame, Flash something.
Yeah.
Flash Flame, which is...
Flash Fire.
Yeah, Flash Fire. That was my favorite of the bunch that we came up with.
It kind of makes sense.
I remember the poster being, like, very... Like, it was of a guy's eye in flames, I think. I don't remember. It was.
I just remember a firefighter.
Here, well, yes, I remember that was being at the forefront. I think it was going to be the idea was going to be Jaws, but with fire. I think that's what the movie ended up being. Actually,
how does that even work?
Oh, okay, yeah. Now here I found the poster. Here it is. So it's very. See, look at how they made the door look like a mushroom cloud of fire that he's walking into. You're right. It is just a fireman essentially. There's not much informative.
It's not much of the poster.
Yeah, I think it's literally just Jaws, but with fire. If I had to take a wild guess, and given that I don't think the movie did that great, that is probably exactly what it was.
Look at how great it did.
Okay, so
or badly.
Here, while I look into this, tell a story. Recall some of your earlier
You already looked it up. It's right there. It says 6.7 out of 10. 74.
On IMDb.
Amazon loves it though.
Amazon really loves it. It made 152.3 million USD. Let me see what Wikipedia, because that depends on the budget, really. So I don't care about the plot. I don't care about the production. So Backdraft received mixed reviews, ranging from somewhat favorable to extremely negative.
Wow. Praise
was directed to the special effects and performances, while much criticism was reserved for the story being poorly rendered. The film currently holds a 72% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with a consensus it's not particularly deep, but Backdraft is a strong action movie with exceptional special effects. Film critics Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert gave the film a 2 thumbs up. Okay, so it did okay.
Okay enough.
Yeah, it did okay enough.
For a movie like that.
It grossed a lot. So yeah, it looks like it was enough of a success. I mean, man, remember when movies at their worst were okay?
And not just failures?
Or really bad, dumb ideas, or reboots.
That's why they keep showing, like, old movies, like, that have already released.
Yeah, because what is there to see? I have nothing to see until Halloween, basically.
Well, next week we're going to Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, that's an old movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Like, what is there new to see? What would you go to the movies to go see? I want to see this new movie.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you don't expect movies, I guess. You want something original. Like, you don't go out to the movie theaters thinking, I'm going to see this specific movie because I like it specifically.
Because I like it specifically. Well, that's how you're supposed to. I mean, that's the whole concept of the summer blockbuster. Is like, oh, that movie looks good. I want to go see it.
I guess. But we haven't had that, though.
No.
For trailers. So you just kind of...
You know, and what movie people don't realize is that if they can't get... The only way people hear about new movies really is going to be if you go to the movies.
Well, yeah.
So if you don't go to the movies, you're not going to hear about more movies, and you're going to be like us and have the impression that there are no movies out at all.
Well, you can see trailers on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, but what kid doesn't have ad block our age?
No, but I mean, like, you can specifically go out and see a trailer.
Right, but you have to look for the advertise. You know what I mean? I don't have to do their job for them, and I shut it off when they try. Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to go see a movie, then you can do that work yourself.
Right, but that's what I mean. It's no longer a constant cycle of going to the movies and the movies telling you what movies you should also go see later. It's now I have no information and I don't ever want to see movies, and I think of movies as entertainment that I don't consume anymore unless I've already seen it.
Right.
And that's very true. The only movies me and Aileen watch are ones that I have already seen, more or less.
Yeah.
Or that Aileen has already seen.
Which is very rare, if it's something I've already seen.
Yeah, admittedly.
And you haven't.
Well,
you won't watch movies that I like.
Well, what do you mean? We're going to see the movie you just said.
Yeah.
Well, like.
I mean at home.
Like what? What else? What that isn't anime that? Because I know I'm not fair to you. I'm not in the mood to watch anime.
They're never on Netflix, so it's not like we can really see them. Which is a shame.
But I mean, like what? Like I have never heard of these movies.
For example, let's say I want to see a Steve Martin movie. Chances are it won't be on Netflix.
Right, but if you have a good one, like I think the one people recommend is Planes, Trains, and Automobile. Or I messed up the movie, didn't I?
But anyways, what? So yeah.
But like we could rent it on YouTube. You just gotta tell me that sort of thing.
I'm just too cheap for that.
See, it's not a I won't. Let's get this straight. Let's tell the story straight here. It's not mean old Jake doesn't want me to see the
movies. It's too
expensive. My gosh. See, folks, what I have to put up with. You see. I kind of weirdly want to see a Steve Martin movie though.
Why don't we go see something like The Jerk? Next time we have dinner.
What's The Jerk?
It's basically, as far as I remember, at simplest, Steve Martin is adopted by a black family and he thinks he's black. And then he has to go out in the world and do something, you know?
That sounds highly offensive by today's standards. I love it.
But it's a great movie.
Because it's Steve Martin. I don't see how Steve Martin could be offensive. Like he seems as far as comedy goes, he's like a declawed kitten. Hey, we haven't seen any of the Naked Gun movie, like any of the Leslie Nielsen movies.
You're right.
And those
you wanted to see those.
Those are great. I can't believe you haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Oh, you would love so much. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd stop. It's just one of those kind of movies that doesn't stop punching.
Right.
Oh,
I like that.
Wow, surprisingly, we talked about movies this entire podcast so far.
Yeah, because we started off talking about TV.
And then Universal, and then movies. All media that we don't consume, might I add.
Yeah, that's interesting. We have friends who consume those media.
We do, but...
Do we ever ask them about what they think?
About what? You need to be a little more specific there.
About the movies, I mean. Or the media that they consume.
I mean, I feel like with movies, anyone will tell you, no, nothing mainstream is in. Like, I feel like Mark is plugged into all sorts of, and Darius are plugged into all sorts of indie stuff, but they also have a tolerance for stuff that I don't find palatable, I feel like.
Like what?
Indie films in general.
What do indie films tend to be about? Emotions?
See, yeah, small stories or nothing sometimes, a lot of the times.
Nothing.
Or also stories that aren't, like, narratively sound. Okay, here's the thing, and I'm gonna be unfairly critical because it's all my taste. Let me get this out of the way.
Right.
But with indie films, it's all about... What's the point of being an indie film, a lot of people say, if you're going to be saccharine, if you're going to do stories that are tried and true. And if you're not going to push the button, the envelope,
right?
What are you doing? And to be fair, indie films that are successful do this, but they do it very well, like Memento. That was a smash box office hit that was also an indie film. And it played with basic narrative structures in ways that a lot of people probably didn't find palatable.
It doesn't feel like an indie film.
Well, it does, though. They shoot it in dinky locations across the area, you know? Like, it's a very small...
But it's so well written, you know, I guess.
Yeah, well, writers aren't expensive, like is the idea. But sets are, and actors are. But with when it comes to indie movies, they have to push the envelope. And when you are on the cutting edge, you're going to fall and do the splits on the side of the sword. You know? In the end of the day, you'll sometimes strike gold, but for the most part, you're diving off a cliff.
Right.
Sometimes there's a river at the bottom, but most times you just leave a crater. And I just feel like that's how indie films are for me. To be fair, the only indie films I've ever let Mark drag me to are ones that end up being really good.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
We like the movies that we've gone with him.
But that's because I go kicking and screaming. And so unless...
I don't know, we haven't been disappointed yet, have we?
Yeah, because I go kicking and screaming. I'm a good wall. If you can... If you can have enough conviction to say 100% Jake, you'll like this.
Right.
Like, I trust these people and I trust this movie. Then it'll be good. Because I have a very high bar of being dissatisfied with something or bored. I don't know if I would say I'm too critical. I enjoy basic stuff. I guess I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of people.
You're kind of weirdly in the middle. Like, you will be very vocal about what you like and don't like.
But I'm a very middleman.
But yeah, it's not like you're critical, though.
I mean, I'm critical, but I'm not harshly so.
Yeah.
I don't hate a film just because I have criticisms of it.
So you're, like, right in the middle of liking a movie and then, like, having parts that you don't like.
Right, but that doesn't affect how much I enjoyed it.
Right.
I just think you should be able to talk crap about a movie and what it screwed up on. Mm-hmm. Like, Memento is one of my absolutely favorite films.
I like it too.
But its narrative structure, while it's great, it's also wonderfully distracting and also hides a very simple story that's only good because it's because of the way that it's organized. Now, this could be taken as a praise, but it's also gimmicky. And also, if you remove it, it's fine as a narrative, but it's a very confusing narrative.
Isn't that the point, though?
Well, yeah. The point is that he wrote a narrative that only made sense as a satisfying narrative in the order that he told it.
Right.
He even started in Medias Res. It's written like a regular story, but it's just the events don't happen in the wrong chronological order.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cheatsy almost. I mean, it deserves to be praised for all those reasons, but it does sacrifice a lot narratively if you take the time element out and like if you sit down and try to think through the story as it happens in real time.
Yeah.
The story's weak. Here's spoilers, by the way. If you haven't seen Memento, turn off this podcast and go watch it. So you've been warned. So here's what happens in Memento. You have a guy sitting in a hotel room talking about his life and a similar story on a guy to a phone. He gets all weirded out by the guy on the phone. He gets handed a picture under his door. And halfway through the film, something finally happens that isn't in his hotel room. And they go out to this shed in him and his cop friend, Teddy. And they kill the guy who supposedly is the guy that killed his wife. And it's very quickly revealed that no, this isn't the guy, this is just some guy. And Teddy halfway through reveals to Guy Pearce that, oh, you know, Lenny, you have this memory thing and you killed John G a long time ago. Boom! Narrative's revealed, and then it's revealed that Lenny sets up this game for himself to find later that will eventually kill Teddy as the real John G, the real person that killed his wife. Mm-hmm. The movie's over by then, and that's why that midpoint where something finally happens is the end of the story. And then, but if you think through it, then that becomes a disappointment of you already know what happens. And then he takes his clothes and the car and goes to the bar because it's after he gets a tattoo and discovers the girlfriend of the guy he just killed. The girlfriend takes him out for a spin and takes advantage of him, and then he remembers his quest. And then the girlfriend does him a favor because she finds him sweet and knows that he's just caught up in this.
This is so very convoluted that none of this will make sense to anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
Right, which is why I said if you haven't seen this, turn it off.
But if you have seen this, then why are you summarizing the movie?
Because I want to demonstrate something about this. Okay. Is that you couldn't stand to get through 3/4 of the film, essentially. Mm-hmm. Or more accurately, 2/3. And that's my point, is that this story is very much, nothing happens in the first half, and then the second half is entirely super complicated.
Right.
But because he weaves it like he's just discovered what a sewing kit is, and just rewrites what he did. Imagine if you made a quilt with a pattern, but you didn't make a pattern. You just made a quilt and then painted over that quilt. You didn't make this yarn or make this pattern with creative things. You just made it look like you did. That's what Memento is you could criticize it. That doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it and I don't think it worked.
Right.
I guess my long wraparound point is that I still enjoy it, but you should be able to criticize films.
Yeah.
And even though that's my favorite film, it's still an indie film. And when indie films don't massively succeed in what they're trying to do, they just fall on their face, and you wish that you watched something that at least had a nice conclusion. Uh-huh. I watched a film recently. I don't know. It felt like an independent production, except for the fact that it was a period piece, and there's no way any independent production is a period piece. It was The Founder. Both me and Aileen watched this. Aileen didn't finish it, but she got very close.
I got bored.
She got very close.
I didn't really pay attention to it at some point.
It's very weird because the writing and performances are very good. It's a film about the founder of McDonald's, quote unquote, Roy Kroc, who famously did not found McDonald's, but claimed he did. Because he basically made them who they are, successful. Not the elements that made them successful, but he was the one that found success and made it success.
Right.
In spite of conditions in his own life and even from the owners, who really were kind of jerks to him. But instead of presenting it as this weird, as this kind of interesting character study of people who aren't in the wrong and aren't in the right at all sides really, you can make a good argument for. They play it
Everyone had flaws.
Right. They play it as this overly saccharine thing on all sides, and with this twinge of like, it almost felt like a commercial for McDonald's until the end, and that's supposed to be the twist. Is the music that goes dark and jump cuts, and then end of movie. Like, oh, he was not a great guy all this time. Oh, boo hoo hoo. Oh, because we didn't get that already. That was supposed to be a twist. Like, why would you have that be a twist? That, oh, you weren't supposed to like the character the whole time. Uh-huh. It's like, when people badly summarize Breaking Bad, they summarize it as, oh, the twist is that the main character is the bad guy. That's not. It's the point of the show. Yeah. You're supposed to know that the main character is someone you shouldn't root for. And if you do, you should be looking at yourself and why you're rooting for them. And So that's what this movie feels like, is a bad summary of what Breaking Bad was all about, thematically. Of, the twist is that you weren't supposed to like him. Like, yeah, he's rough around the edges and was definitely a jerk in a lot of times. But also, yeah, thanks for taking one side the entire way of the movie and then deciding to take the other side at the very last minute. Like, I don't know, movie. Just show some basic...
It just seems manipulative.
Yeah, it's a movie that was ruined in editing. And also the soundtrack is just awful and plain and saccharine. It's bubblegum soundtrack in the worst kind of way. Wow, we really did a podcast where we talked about movies. Uh-huh. That never happens. Well, it does happen.
Well, it does, but we don't release it.
Yeah, but it's like, this is the first time I felt like we've talked about movies and we've talked about stuff. Mm-hmm. And guess what? We made it on our time frame.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so I guess that'll do it, guys. That has been episode 405. 405. I was so close. So close. I wonder if I even said it at the beginning. Crap.
I wouldn't have caught that. That's funny. I guess it's our first season, huh? We just skipped 2. It's been 2 years since we made one.
It's episode 205 of the Thanks for Watching show. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.